Hello and welcome to the Wise Why. This morning or this afternoon, I never really know at 12 o'clock, I'm joined by Jan, the friendly coffee lady who has always brought a massive smile to my face. And one of my favourite memories was driving into the cafe in Benson and bumping in to Jan. And it was like, oh, and then it was like, I wish we could have gone for coffee. But as usual, the Wise Why is not about me. It is about my guest. So Jan, it's your time to shine. Introduce yourself.
As Kirsty just said, it's Jan, coffee lady. That's what I'm known as. The name came about from somebody putting my details into a phone one day and going, what can I put you on? Oh, coffee lady. So that's how it came about. So that's me. I'm Jan, the coffee lady.
And Jan, one of the things I love about you is when we go networking and I meet you in a room, there's all this abundance of energy that just exudes from you and this absolute honesty. One of the things that really shines is like you go around the room and everyone's going, I'm this, I'm that. And we're all introducing ourselves. We've got 7 seconds at the business bars and we've got to be really quick and succinct. And just, I love yours because it's like coffee. Who doesn't drink it?
Absolutely. It's a very tactile business to be in. Everybody either likes coffee or they like tea or they know somebody that likes it. And that's what we do. I love the business. I've been in it over 35 years. So I know what we need to do, what we need to achieve. And I'm very enthusiastic. As a Sagittarian, that is part of the mix. You're optimistic. Your glass is always, and I hate this saying, always half full, never half empty. That's me. That's what you get. Cheerful most of the time. Ask the hubby. Probably not always. But I like to enthuse people. I like to encourage people because that's what it's about. I mean, come on, Kirsty, you come into a room and that smile just lights the room up as well. So it's all about how we perceive ourselves, how we encourage people to talk to us, basically. If we walked up to somebody miserable, would you talk to them?
No.
There you go.
One of the things I was looking at this morning as we were getting ready to
putting your lipstick on.
As I was putting my lipstick on in the studio. No, before that, I realised that as I'm getting older, I'm getting these lines that go down. And I don't want these lines that go down because I smile all the time. I want lines that go up.
It comes with age, believe me.
So 30 years, you must have seen some incredible changes over the years with coffee. I mean, I know that my own journey, because I'm in the tender age of whatever. I remember Mellow Birds. Oh my God, that's disgusting.
Do you remember Camp Coffee?
I do. In fact, I remember being Camp Coffee was posh coffee.
In a bottle, and it was a liquid, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Going back when we started, my husband started the business back in the early 80s. He started doing coffee, going around putting coffee machines into offices. And at that point, it was mainly filter coffee. So it was the pour and serve machines. Very few people had bean to cup. You had the traditionals, you had the Gagias out there, etc. Old school, what I would call old school. But we were going around putting in pour and serve machines. And then over time, that grew. He then went off and did something else, and I'd left work to go in and help him, and he abandoned me and went off and did car air conditioning. I took over the business and ran it for a while and built it up. We were then starting to get into bean to cup, bulk brew. I mean, one of my first big accounts was Millet's Garden Centre, believe it or not, going back many years when they started to bring in coffee. And I supplied them with push button coffee machines. At that point, it was, dare I say it, powdered milk, hot chocolate and things like that. But it's progressed. I mean, coffee machines are so techie these days, which is obviously taking us round to the techie problems this morning. As I say, give me a coffee machine and I'm there. Give me a computer, have no idea. So yes, it has come an awful long way, and people's perception of coffee has also changed. We're into the micro roasters, original origin coffees and all those sort of things, which enhances our experience of coffee all over the world.
And it's fascinating because obviously if I think back, I mean, we've been with Dennis for what, 16, 17 years now. And yeah, I can remember we were I mean, he's Dutch, so coffee was massive, huge cultural thing. And we would have, it was always filtered. I mean, there's coffee and cake at 8 o'clock. Coffee is a big thing with us in the family. And we're on our second bean to cup machine, because the first one eventually broke after it had done something like 30,000 cups of coffee, which
for home use, that's a lot of coffee.
Yeah, well, to be fair, people come to the house and they do turn around and they do say, I've come to see you. Can I get one of your coffees? In fact, Jason Arbiter, who brilliant jeweler, he comes around and goes, yeah, can I have a coffee here?
They know they can get one. Yeah, well, consequently, I have coffee machines here. At the moment, I'm using a little traditional machine because my bean to cup machine is actually out with a client who we're waiting for a new machine to come into. So again, they're the sort of things that we can do. And I help with events as well. So if we're doing an event for a micro roaster, or even some clients that are doing customer shows or customer days, we'll go out and loan them a coffee machine, go and do all that sort of thing, which is something we can do, and give their customers the experience of good coffee. So again, it's not just about me, my coffee, it's about helping customers with their clients and their customers.
So explain a bit more about coffee, because we all go to events. Yeah, we've all, whether it's in a field or it's in a designated hall, and you get there and you can get terrible coffee. I mean, I'm not being funny, but some coffee you just go, why? You know, there is no need, as far as there isn't a need any longer for instant coffee in a container. You know, put your hand in, make it. Is there a need for that any longer?
Not really. And I mean, if you go to an event, or I go to an event, do you walk around the trailers and go, oh, proper coffee machine? So in theory, you should get a decent coffee, and they are getting a lot better. I will always go to a trailer if we're going to get a coffee with somebody that's got a normal coffee machine, or even a bean to cup, because they make good coffee. But it's not just about the coffee, it's about the setup. For instance, we did some installs yesterday, and we tried to adjust the grinder, because that is the most important part of that kit, the grinder. If you don't get that right, you're not going to get the coffee right out of the machine. And you can make rubbish coffee out of quality beans by having the setup wrong. So again, it's knowing, and people are so much better than they were even 5 years ago. You know, they're very, very, you know, you've got the barista championships going on all over the country at the moment. This is very big business. We had the London Coffee Festival last week, which was 4 days of coffee geeks just going and trying different coffees and finding out different ways of making it. Micro roasters bringing in different coffees from all over the world. So they have these massive shows now purely on coffee, and you have the trade bits that go on. But Saturday and Sunday last week at the London Coffee Fest was purely the public just going through and trying lots of different coffee. Barista training is quite a technique, and people can earn quite a bit of money doing that now. So again, it's knowing what you're looking for, and no, there is no excuse for rubbish coffee. People have instant coffee, it's quick, it's cheap, but no, there is no need for it now. Bean to cup machines have come a long way, or your traditionals, they're the best way of making coffee.
Brilliant. So, but you weren't always in coffee. This is what I find really fascinating about you. 30 years in coffee, but you had a brilliant, varied life before that. And you in Oh, come on. What was this about drag racing?
Oh, crikey, yeah. Well, going back many years, I was 9 years old when my brothers started racing, drag racing. So we're going back to the late 70s. And then all the way through, my husband, I met my husband at racing, because they were all into cars. So again, 9 years old all the way through to the late 80s, early 90s. And we're talking fast and furious, basically. And we did things like we took the car to Europe. We did championships with the funny cars. Hubby rode bikes and did things like that, but gave that up due to falling off a few times. And then we then ran a car. But yeah, no, I actually wanted to try for Formula Women. So I actually went and did a trial for the Formula Women thing and hurtled round. Do you know the Top Gear track?
Yeah.
Yeah. I went round there in a Caterham, qualifying for that. And then at Donington, we did that. I didn't get through, but it was great fun. Absolute great fun. Fast cars. Yeah, we're into fast cars. Don't give me a football. I don't do football. Anything with wheels and speed, we like.
And that's the thing. It's like you look. I meet you at networking. We talk about coffee, but actually, when we start, I always love this about meeting people because it's like peeling an onion. You've got so many layers and so many different life experiences that we never see quite what's underneath. And so it's really 7 seconds. Quickly, coffee at networking events. Sometimes really good coffee. Sometimes, oh my goodness, what is that? It's just fascinating. So there must have been people, obviously I can tell that your hubby is a real amazing man, but there must have been people along the way that have really inspired you or supported you. I wonder if you could talk about those for a minute.
Obviously, family-wise, yeah. I got stepdaughters, Paula, Sarah, and grandchildren. Paula's been amazing since we moved back to Oxford. Lots of support. You know, you need somebody to ring up and have a whinge at, which used to be my mum. However, she's no longer here, so you find somebody else, don't you? And it's just giving off what's the word I'm looking for, your anxiety, you know, to air something over a phone can help. I don't cry very often, but I vent, which is fine. It's not hurting anybody, is it? With regards to business, when I left my previous life, it was a case of what do I do? We were in Cambridge at the time, and I said to my husband, right, what do we do? Don't know what I'm going to do, but do I carry on doing what I know? We then moved from Cambridge back to Oxford from December the 16th to February the 14th following year. I'd left work, moved house, had a Christmas, had a big birthday, started a business, and we moved back to Oxford on the 14th of February the following year. So it was, 2 months? I approached a lot of suppliers that I obviously had contacts with, and the likes of Frankie, Jura, Jag Coffee Systems were amazing, absolutely amazing, and supported me and have done. And we're still selling their equipment. So I've got to thank people like them. The networking, the business buzz. Now, come on, you know, the support you get from you guys out there at different various meetings is amazing. My little friend Proud Brands, who did my website, again, we did a lot of changes, and I was so anxious about my old website. Sean just talked me through it very calmly. We worked on it for a few months, built up a relationship, and now the website's doing amazing. So again, lots of support from suppliers and family with what I'm doing, and I can't thank people enough. I haven't mentioned you. You're there. You definitely are there. But I love my buzz meetings.
They're good, aren't they? What I like about it, and this is the thing, I mean, it's how we met. I like the fact that it's non-pressured. And if I think about, I mean, someone said to me, "Do you get work from it?" It's like, well, it's not so much about work. It's more about as a solopreneur, sometimes it can get a bit lonely, and it's more that support network that I can turn to somebody who's got the experience that I'm looking for, who might be able to plug the hole. Obviously, Jill and I, we're pretty much like twins, I think. Yeah, she is my person I vent to because you know I need someone and she needs someone, so we phone each other probably daily to vent.
Absolutely, and it's good to have that.
Yeah.
And also I find the exposure, you know, the guys will only like or repost or anything else if you've got that connection with them. So you're building up a relationship with lots of people. I know people, it's a bit like Facebook, isn't it? You go, oh, I've got all these friends. No, you haven't. you haven't, on LinkedIn and things like that, you've got a lot of connections. You have to build up that rapport with those individuals to actually get them to respond to you, to what's the word, not recommend, because you don't get people to recommend you, tell people about you, because that's what it's all about. It's about networking, isn't it? And I find networking platforms in our business, being on our own, is so important. Absolutely, you can't do without it. So I'm sort of I'm doing radio advertising with Get Radio at the moment. So I'm out there. My website's obviously taking off. So it's going in the right direction now. It's going in the right. I'm happy.
Awesome. Have there been any moments where you thought, do you know what? Why am I doing this?
Oh, all the time. When you're on your own, it's really hard, because you are motivating yourself. So a lot of the time you're trying to motivate yourself. When do I don't think I did it myself? Let me think. Sleepless nights, worrying about getting that install done and that in. But again, because I've got a good relationship with the suppliers, I've got credit, I've got things in place, I've got help. If I'm stuck, I just call someone and they'll step in. So I love the business. Why wouldn't I do it if I love what I'm doing?
Yeah. So along the way, there must have been moments where, because you've done 30 years for coffee. What were you doing before the coffee?
I was very young then.
We still are. We still are.
Thanks. Yeah. Right. When I started work, I was doing punch operating. When I left school, when we moved to Windsor, so when I lived with my husband, I went from living in North London into Windsor. I went to work as a receptionist. So my first job was a receptionist for a guy who owned Blazers nightclub. He was a property developer, quite well known in that area. So I did a few years there, and then, not being funny, I went straight from there into the coffee trade. So I had very few jobs. Probably count them on one hand, to be fair. So I've been self-employed twice. So we had the Village Coffee Company in Oxford. I then sold that business, and then we moved out the area and went up to Lincoln, Cambridge, Hertfordshire. So we've sort of travelled around a little bit, and then spent 21 years in a business, working with somebody and building that business up. Then 3 years ago, that changed and I moved out and went on my own again. That's quite scary at my age, but it can be done. It can be done.
And I think it's about I think actually that's probably when I met you. It was probably about 3 years ago when you were just going out there, and I remember you were just relaunching, and I remember thinking, you are one brave woman. And this is what people forget, because I launched my business when I was 49 turning 50. Oh gosh, I've given my age away there. But people don't launch businesses when they're past a beautiful birthday. I'm not going to say that, that's up to you, but people don't do it, right? They're thinking about putting their feet up and disappearing into the sun and other things, but you didn't. You are brave because you launched when you're a little bit older than I am.
Thank you. We won't go there. I'm on the wrong side. Well, I'm actually, they keep moving the retirement age, so that's fine because I'm not quite there yet. So,
I don't think I'm ever going to retire.
No, I don't think they're going to let us, to be fair.
No, I don't think they will. No, actually, we won't go political, but what exactly are the government doing right now? Oh my goodness. Look at my post to find out.
No, that's another podcast.
Oh, it's a huge one. It's kind of like
that'll be longer than half an hour.
I think if I started ranting, we talked about ranting. I think if I started ranting, I don't know if I'd be able to stop. It might be
cut.
Anyway, back to coffee. So one of the things that people don't realize about, and this is a bit of an off the wall one, but I used to work for the Estee Lauder, and I worked in the bureau team when I was an actor, and I did lots of different jobs. So I did makeup artistry right the way through to working in Joe Malone. Now in Joe Malone, we used to have a pot of coffee beans to clear our noses. I wondered if you could talk about how we can clear, because we talk about drinking coffee, but coffee is much more than just drinking it, right?
It's the aroma, various aromas. I mean, when you walk in somewhere and you open a bag of beans, and it is the most lovely smell you could ever wish for. But again, as you said earlier, you can get a really bad coffee, you can get really bad beans. So if you open it and go, oh, that's not good, you want that nice, fresh aroma. And yes, it can clear your nose, but you can get bad ones, over roasted, dark. Some of them now are coming through, I say some, different flavors in them. So you're getting chocolate and fruits and things in the beans, depending on where they're coming from in the world. Hannah, that I work with, her coffee comes from Uganda, and we did a launch the other week at one of my clients, Bedfordshire Golf Club, because she's selling her coffee and raising money for her charity in the clubhouse. So we did a relaunch and put a new bean in there, and we ran the old bean through and we put the new bean in it, and the difference was amazing, absolutely amazing. And again, it's all about the soils, how dark or how light they're roasted, single origin as well. So again, your single origin beans, either Ugandan, Colombian, but a lot of beans that are a blend, which are blends from different. And of course nowadays, because climate change and all that affects all these things, they have to, that's why you have a profile. So a profiled bean means that it can be tweaked with different beans from different places, but it brings it to a mix that will suffice, or is like your mix. For instance, I've got a mahogany bean in my range. They could use different beans from different areas to bring into that profile, and it meets that profile. So there's lots of techie things that go on with coffee, as with computers.
So on that note, because obviously we've talked about you supplying coffee machines, we've talked about you supplying coffee. What's your customer? Is it the family right the way through, or is it business? Just so that the audience can know exactly where and how to come to you and why they would come to you, because that's really important.
Most of my business is commercial. So people want a commercial coffee machine, and I start from the beginning. So it's talking to that person about what they need, because 9 times out of 10, a customer will come to you and they'll have an idea of what they want, but it's not what they need. What they want and what they need are 2 different things. There's no point in me selling a coffee machine that does 150 cups a day to a customer that's doing 30 or 50. It's overkill. And that they do happen. Do they want a traditional machine? Do they want a bean to cup machine? Do they need it tanked? Do they need it plumbed? Do they want fresh milk? Do they want powdered milk? Do they want a mix? So there's a lot of things out there that you ask the client before you even start talking pricing. And then it's about space, what services they've got, how they get it in there, because there's more ways of getting a coffee machine in somewhere if you know the location. So if, for instance, it can come with a fridge next to the machine, it can come with a fridge under the machine, it can come with no fridge if you're going bean to cup. So again, it's just asking those questions, and I will talk them through what they want, then talk about what they need, then go into the process of leasing. We can do leasing, purchasing, ordering, but mine, it doesn't just stop there, Kirsty. I look after my clients after sales. It's about servicing, filter changes, cleaning products. Went to one the other day and they're using totally the wrong cleaning solution for backflushing their coffee machine, a descaler, which is not what you should use. So again, it's like, should be using that, and pointed them in the right direction. And we cleaned it, and it made such a difference to their coffee machine. So it's just silly little things like that that I'm hoping help the clients.
That's not silly, that's customer service. And that's something that is seriously lacking in a lot of businesses today. A lot of businesses are so busy, particularly with online, they're so busy selling, that actually they fall down. And that's when you end up having to use social media to call out a big organization, because they have failed on the customer service. And I think, from my personal experience, customer service is probably the most essential part of selling. And yet it's so easily forgotten. So thank you for sharing that insight. This is where the tables get turned. I'm going to tell you, you've been talking for 26 minutes, so that's probably going to shock you.
Okay.
And you get to ask me a question, and obviously I don't know what it is. So it's only fair after you've been in the hot seat for 26 minutes.
I want to know what coffee you like.
That's a really interesting one,
and
because
what machine you're using at home.
So I am using it begins with a D.
DeLonghi.
That's it. I had to think there. It's bean to cup, and I really struggle at the moment, and it's something that maybe you could help me with. I like Italian coffee, but I want it to be ethically sourced. I don't like a heavy coffee, because I want it to be easy drinking, but I also don't like a really light one. You know, the ones that you make it and it tastes milky. So I don't like that either. So I don't.
Set up for your machine, lovey.
So no, it's if I go even into one of the big high street stores, if they give me a coffee that's creamy, I don't like a creamy coffee at all. I don't like coffees that have got any flavors in them. I don't like hazelnut flavorings, any of these syrups. I want a nice sit down cup of coffee that's either Italian and Spanish coffee seems to match my palate. I don't really want anything with chocolate in it. I just want coffee, and I really struggle to find a coffee. So I end up going, and the big thing for me is it's ethically sourced with ethical beans, and that's so I need to actually talk to you, because I had a conversation with my hubby. I went, when we eventually move, which is on the cards, I want to make sure that when we get to the new place, we're getting the right coffee. So I will take your advice, because I am fussy, but I don't know what I like, what I don't like. I just know I don't like things that have got, I just want coffee. Do you know what I mean?
I'll give you some information about a couple of the micro roasters that I use who make amazing coffee, and because it's ethical, because they work with charities. I've got the Gorilla Conservation. You've got Hannah, who's Kickstart Coffee, and they all support charities, and they raise lots of money. I'll let you have the details on them, because if you
please
just look
do.
And they do some amazing coffees. Are you coming to the Big Buzz in Stevenage?
No, I'm not. But I'll tell you something that was the best coffee I ever had was from Fair Trade. They don't make it any longer. It was from, I think it came from Ethiopia, and it was, I'm going to laugh, you're going to laugh here, I was 11. So that tells you how long I've been trying to find this coffee, because it was just
out there, Kirsty.
So absolutely. And also put some links at the end of this on LinkedIn, and send the links to me, and I'll put them on YouTube. Give me the links so we can put them into the right places so people can help, because actually finding, because you don't want to go to the supermarket, sorry, big supermarkets out there, but you don't want to go there to buy your coffee. You want to be able to buy and support local, or I do. I want it to be ethically sourced. So anything that you can do to help the audience find ethically sourced coffee would be great.
And the other thing I look for, farmers markets tend to have these guys coming and doing their coffee. Small batched roast coffees are good, are really good.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute joy. That's 30 minutes of just talking coffee. I've loved it. So thank you so much.
I would just like to say thank you for helping me prior to the meeting. That's for us to know about.
Absolutely. And that's why I do what I do.
Oh, brilliant. All right, Kirsty, thank you very much for your time as well.
Thank you.